First and foremost, let's address the elephant in the room. The coronavirus has put the entire world on pause. Everybody is feeling it, but especially in the world of sports. Major leagues such as the NBA, NHL, MLS, and MLB have suspended operations. NASCAR did everything they could in their power to try and race, but in the end, the risk was simply too high. I encourage all the fans to remain calm. We're gonna have racing eventually. We don't know how long this epidemic is gonna last and when it's gonna blow over, but in the meantime, let's all just relax and make sure everyone is good. In the meantime, here are a few unusual NASCAR postponements. When the Winston Cup Series arrived at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the fourth race of 1993, the entire East Coast was hit with a ton of snow. This is known now as the Storm of the Century. The entire area was hit with 6 to 8 inches of snow, canceling all on-track activity for the weekend. The entire delay lasted 6 days, moving the event to Saturday afternoon. Luckily, TNN was able to find some humor during the process.
Last week, this entire part of the country was inundated with the blizzard of '93. The blizzard of the century, they called it here. How bad was it? Let's check with Neil Bonnet.
I'll tell you what, folks. I've always heard of drafting, but not drifting. How's these long handles look with this dress coat, man? Am I right?
Rusty Wallace had actually captured the pole for that weekend's race before all the weather hit and was on pole for almost a whole week. That's gotta be a record. In the meantime, the green flag finally drops on the spring event. Mark Martin led a race high 140 laps before engine problems did him in, and Morgan Shepherd took home the checkered flag for his fourth and final Winston Cup Series victory. It was also his first and final win driving for the famous Wood brothers, and officially made him the king of Atlanta. When 3 of your 4 wins come on one track, I think it's safe to say you officially own it. The Florida fires that took place in the summer of 1998 rocked the entire country. At the time, it was the largest aerial firefights in the US. A record-breaking number of firefighters, over 10,000, helped battle over 2,000 blazes across Florida. The 98 Pepsi 400 was in the middle of it and was decided in NASCAR's 50th anniversary it would be postponed to October. At the time, racetracks did their own television deals, and CBS, being in the middle of NFL and college football season, was not available to broadcast, leaving Daytona to work out a deal with TNN Sports to broadcast the first under-the-lights race at Daytona. The atmosphere pre-race was electric. Fans were obviously disappointed it wasn't able to run on its traditional weekend, and were just happy that it was running at all. Once NASCAR gives them their 4th of July weekend back, I'd like to think this will be the exact same reaction. Entering the race, Dale Sr. was the pre-race favorite, this being his first time at Daytona since winning his first and only 500. While he did have his moments, we were in the 1998 season. Nobody was stopping Jeff Gordon anywhere. Dale Sr. led a ton of laps in the very beginning, but once Jeff Gordon hit his stride, it was over. He went on to win, leading a race-high 49 laps on his way to his 3rd championship in 4 seasons. To put it in perspective, Gordon had a 358-point lead over second-place challenger Mark Martin. In the late 90s, nobody was stopping him. And with Pepsi being the race and Gordon sponsor, it was a PR match made in heaven. The 2001 New Hampshire 300 was supposed to be ran in its usual month of September. Unfortunately, the race was scheduled to run the weekend after 9/11. NASCAR was considering going ahead and running the race at first before coming to their senses. Instead, it was rescheduled the Friday after Thanksgiving. They wanted to make sure, in case of weather, they had a couple more makeup dates for Saturday and Sunday. The whole region was rejoicing as their race was finally about to commence, and NBC was on the call. They gave a mini pre-race show which included the famous Thunder Motion presented by NASCAR Thunder 2002. There was nothing to really race for. Jeff Gordon had already clinched his 4th and final Cup Series championship, along with capturing his 6th Budweiser Pole Award, and was expected to straight up dominate. Another Gordon and Robbie had other plans, however. With 16 laps to go, Robbie pulled the famous bump and run move entering turn 3, and safe to say, Jeff Gordon was furious. Some payback ensued in the caution laps after, and NASCAR simply wasn't having that from its current champion. Gordon was penalized and ended up finishing outside the top 10. Meanwhile, Robbie ended up scoring his first career Winston Cup Series victory, leading to one of the most underrated team celebrations / burnout combos ever.
Thank you for the opportunity. Excellent job. in this mass of people, Alan, are tears in Gil Martin's eyes as he runs to cheer on his driver. Gil, I tell you what a great call by you to bring those old tires, and what a great drive by Rob.
God, I can't believe this right here. This team has waited for this for 5 years, and Lowe's has been with them that long, and this is the 5th, they're leaving. I can't even hardly talk. I mean, I'm so happy for Richard and Robbie and this whole team right here, and everybody's been through. Lowe's, Snap-on, Goodyear, they had a great tire today. You just had to know which one to bring.
Good point. And this is a great way to send these guys off to the off-season, as they will all be together next year in 2002.
To add fuel to the fire, Jeff Gordon said he should be embarrassed for that victory.
I know you're thrilled. You've worked so hard to get here, but there are tough questions. Jeff Gordon said perhaps you should be embarrassed that you won this race in this fashion.
I remember Jeff Gordon wrecking someone to win a race before, so I'm not embarrassed. I'm very proud to be driving the Lowe's car, and I can't wait to be driving the Singler car next year.
Will you try and talk to Jeff tonight?
If Jeff wants to talk to me, like I said, I'm not too worried about it. I've seen him wreck somebody at Bristol to win a race. So, this is racing, and I'm really excited and proud to have the opportunity.
The 2007 3M Performance 400, aka one of the most annoying race weekends in NASCAR history. On Sunday, the race gets postponed due to rain and fog in the area, but then Monday rolls around and they have to postpone it again because the spotters can't see through all the thick fog. For Tuesday, the race is moved over to ESPN2 in front of a sparse crowd. I'd say for a Tuesday, it's a pretty good crowd as well. Anyways, we still run into problems with the weather, spotters are still unable to see, and for the first few laps, it has taken place under the yellow and green flag. Eventually, the cars are pulled down pit road and the race is under a red flag delay. NASCAR's biggest fears are about to set in. What if we can't get this race in? Because they had to go to Bristol that Friday. In the meantime, fans remain optimistic. Kyle Busch is throwing a football to his crew long before Bubba Wallace made it cool, and by some divine miracle, most of the fog rolls on out, and the actual green flag takes place on lap 12. After all the waiting, we finally get some racing in, but a lap later, Montoya spins, and honestly, this is one of the most underrated saves ever. How he didn't hit the wall, I will never know. The biggest story in this race was the point situation. Dale Jr. was on the outside looking in, trying to get into the chase, while Jeff Gordon was straight up running away with it. He was running inside the top 5 with less than 15 laps to go before Kenseth decided to enact his revenge for Chicagoland 06, at least that's what I think. And the most dominant driver of 2007 is stuck in the wet grass. About 4 or 5 crew members have to push him out, and he's able to get out and finish up the race. Kurt Busch leads a race-high 92 of 203 laps on his way to his second win of 2007. This race was used as a springboard to help getting him into the chase for the Cup. This ended up being his second and final win of 2007, and towards the end of the race, we had this amazing finish between Dale Jr. and Casey Mears. And once again, that'll do it for another video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know we want to see racing out on the track, but it is better to be safe than sorry. Hopefully in the coming weeks, we'll have some news on the subject. But in the meantime, stay safe, stay patient, and be on the lookout for a ton of NASCAR content in the coming weeks. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Black Flags Matter. Catch you next time.